Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. For Nier Reincarnation, let's do a character analysis of Rion. I've had this analysis structure in mind long before the game shut down, and I've laid some groundwork videos, I'll link to those below. But basically, let's answer 5 questions about Rion. What sort of character is he? What sort of hero is he? What is his sin? Is he a sympathetic character? And what are the writers saying through him? I'm assuming folks watching this have seen most or all of Rion's stories, but summing up his arc real quick, he is the sickly prince of a nation that goes to war with other nations. He does not agree with his father, the warmonger, and flees his castle home to wander the lands, attempting to foster peace through his charisma and compassion, but he succumbs to a sickness before realizing his dream. So first question, what sort of character is he according to the expanded version of E.M. Forster's classification spectrum? I would say he is slightly dynamic and very round. Dynamic means he changes over the course of his arc, but I say slightly because he is basically the same person from beginning to end, but he gains more confidence in himself and finds his purpose. He is round rather than flat because he has various internal struggles. He is not a 2D character. Those internal struggles lead us into the second question, what kind of hero is he? Rion is a liminal hero, meaning a character that comes into their own or comes of age as they do other heroic things. Rion is a teenager, presumably, so is dealing with what we all went through during that time, but is also coming to terms with his inherited identity as prince, his responsibility as prince, his disagreement and break with his father. He does find his direction, but his journey is cut short. As we see from Demas's Recollections of Dusk's story, however, Rion's journey accomplishes the future he wanted. And I think the liminal hero is among the most relatable because they are asking questions we have all asked, like, who am I? What is special about me? What is my role? What do I want? What do I believe is right? How can I help the world? Third question, what is Rion's sin? I will talk about how the Nier games define sin in the future, but just for the sake of this video, we'll say that Rion's source of guilt is his complicity in the war that kills and hurts so many. He feels a level of responsibility despite not ordering any of the fighting, and the citizens also blame him. The way he eases the guilt, the way he atones for his sin, is by facing it, in Facing Gale in the People World chapter, looking at the effects of his father's warmongering and owning it, and apologizing for it, and working to correct it. Fourth question, is Rion a sympathetic character? In my Umberto Eco on Understanding video, I laid out his idea of levels of understanding, which are explain, understand, justify, and sympathize. We just explained what Rion did and the way he feels. We can understand how and why he does what he does and feels what he feels, because those are plainly laid out in his stories. Justify and sympathize, however, are interpretive levels and will depend on what we bring to Rion. With justify, we have to decide if what Rion did and why he did it is justifiable by standards of society or morality. I think according to what 95% of the world feels, however, he is justified in searching for peace and doing it in the way that he went about it. Here we get to the deepest level of understanding, which is to sympathize. Do we sympathize with Rion's stance and actions? This is going to be a totally personal judgment, going to be different person by person. I, of course, sympathize with his desire for peace, but I would have preferred that he stayed in his kingdom and work with his father to stop the war. Working from the inside seems to be more effective. But as the story laid out, his father had become megalomaniacal, beyond reasoning, even from his own son, and furthermore, the king ordering the killing of Rion, so I can sympathize with Rion's decision to leave the country. I might have done the same thing if I were in the same situation. Do I sympathize with Rion's guilt, however? This is where I'm the most iffy on Rion. I do not personally believe in the sins of the father passing down to the child, and I think Rion feeling that level of responsibility is too much, and frankly, naive. Of course, naivete fits the character. He is a liminal hero trying to figure out himself and his place in the world, but I try to take the pragmatic view, and if I were in Rion's situation, I would not feel the level of guilt that he does. But I think maybe part of that comes from me being American and not growing up in a history or a culture with royalty or nobility. But I look at like the Japanese imperial house or the British royalty today, and those are attempting to be like totally unified PR fronts where everyone is happy and on the same page, and any action by any member reflects positively or negatively on everyone. And so if we come at it from that point of view, maybe we can maybe sympathize with Leon taking responsibility for the actions of his father. And then also, if Leon did not feel that level of guilt, we would not have a character. And last question, what are the writers trying to say through Leon? I think the top line things are, war has consequences, peace is good, but hard to achieve and maintain, our time is limited, and it matters how we use it, friendship and help can be found in unlikely places, like with the clockwork soldier, Demas. But let's spend some time looking at the implied messages, which are presented almost more through his visual design than his story. Leon is androgynous. He straddles gender lines, for one thing. We look at his various costumes, and he has multiple elements that strike us as female-gendered in our current fashion context. Mary Jane shoes, over-the-knee socks, earrings, bobbed haircut, ribbons, tassels, ruffles, kachushas, billowy sleeves, skirts, bloomers. I feel that the designers are saying through Leon, androgyny can be beautiful and admirable, and something worth pursuing or embracing. And then there's the relationship with Demas that has strong homoerotic undertones. There is a cottage industry in Japan of women in their 30s and up loving gay male relationships, and Nier Reincarnation is absolutely targeting that demographic here. But I would also read this as showing acceptance for gay relationships. I feel like the game speaks to and shows support for multiple minority demographics. Hopefully I can cover all of these in the future. But I think the most important message the writers are trying to get across through Leon is, even if we are weak and powerless in the conventional ways, we can still affect change. We can still accomplish our goals if we work at it and if we get help. Alright, so that was my analysis of Leon, one of my favorite characters in Nier Reincarnation. And this also kind of acts as an introduction to the structure that I want to use when I look at other Nier characters, not just related to Reincarnation. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.